Welcome to a new edition of 2-Year-Olds in Training. I'm Harold Howe for the Harness Edge, and we're here near Pushlinch with Tom Durand, back from Florida. Tom, you got a threesome of 2-year-olds this year. Let's start with hitching a ride in Angus Hall. Interesting story. You bought him out of your chair in your living room. Tell us how this happened.
Well, he's a brother to Tall Cotton, and we knew he was going to be selling late in the sale. So
This is in Lexington.
In Lexington.
But you're in Pushlinch.
Yeah, and the partners said, we really should be looking at this colt. And the situation in Ontario was so bad, and I was actually looking for American breds, but they said just make sure he doesn't go too cheap. So I got on the phone with the auctioneers, and
But ahead of time, you did have him checked out. You didn't buy him blindly.
I had a couple of people just say, go look at this horse, see if there's any big holes in him, and they said he looked fine, other than being a little bit small. So at 11:15 at night, I think it was a Wednesday or Thursday night or something.
That's pretty late for you to be up.
Yeah, that's pretty late for me. I was having trouble staying awake that night. The phone rings, the auctioneers were contacting me like I had arranged, and they said the hit number's coming in the ring. So I waited, and normally you start bidding after a minute or two. Well, it wasn't about 15 seconds. He says, the horse is at 6,000. If you want to bid on him, you better get it in right away. So I said, okay, give him 7. And the hammer went down. I said, what just happened here?
I guess they wanted to go to bed.
And I guess the sale was dragging on that night.
He looks very good on the racetrack for $7,000. But what do you think about him after having him 6 months?
Well, I really like the horse, but one more thing I got to say about the price there. The filly 1 year earlier, a full sister, brought $97,000. And this horse brought 7, so that was the $90,000 McGinty discount. Now, I feel really bad about the breeder, who's a good friend of ours,
Lynn Baker.
Lynn Baker, getting punished like that. And I'm sure that story is everywhere in Ontario. I feel really bad for the breeders.
So you've had him all winter in Florida, and I guess how well do you like him? And what's he been?
I brought him back from Florida. He'd been around 215 down there. Took him over to Mohawk and went in 210 the first week, and then last week we came back in 25 with him, and he was well within himself. So I like him. I don't necessarily see greatness in him, but I think he's a good solid colt.
Okay. In the same set, your wife June took Force Flex, a Federal Flex homebred.
Yeah, we had a mare a few years ago called Kavita, who a nice big solid Cadabra mare. She unfortunately only won 3 races, and she had knee trouble, and we just liked her enough that we decided to breed her. And
He's a big boy.
He is big. He's kind of growthy like her, and it's held him up a little bit so far. But we had to give him a few weeks off in the spring to kind of stabilize while he was growing, but he's coming back. I've been in 212 with him.
Okay. And the third one we have is Don't Cheat on Me Now, a Dewey, Cheatham and Howe name change, $30,000 out of Harrisburg.
Yeah, we bought him the morning of the day that the announcement came out that the Sire Stakes was being saved. So we got in just before the prices of Ontario breds went up at Harrisburg, and he's out of a good quality mare, made $400,000, and he's done everything right to date. All I can say is he was real lazy. All I could do to go a mile and 25 in Florida, but something happened when I got home. I took him over to Mohawk, and he just woke right up. He trained in the first time over there in 212, and then I came back in 27 with him. So he's really learning how to be a racehorse.
Okay. Let's just flip to 3-year-olds. You got one 3-year-old that's pretty interesting that we were videoing here a year ago, Rolls Blue Chip. He's your Hambo hopeful, $60,000 yearling.
Well, I try to have one Hambo hopeful every year, because if you don't have a hopeful, you can never win it. So he's got some revenue blood in him, which is one of my favorite breeds. So
because you can't get King Kong anymore.
Oh no, that's about it. Yeah, he finished his year off strong. He won his last start at Woodbine in 57, and he's gotten a lot stronger over the winter, and I just hope that he blossoms into a good 3-year-old.
And he's ready to qualify again this week?
Yeah, he won his qualifier last week, and he's going to go one more this week, and aiming for the good times.
Okay. Speaking of Hambo hopefuls, we've got to ask you about whiskey tax. Last year was a tough year for him after a great finish a couple of years ago in the Hambo. What's his status today?
Well, he won his first 2 starts last year, and unfortunately he sustained an injury, and we took the safe route and took the year to get him over it. The soft tissue injury in the tendon is always usually a disaster, but it looks like we may have saved this one because it's coming back really well. I've been in 2-4 with him, so hopefully I can return him to his former glory.
Okay. And what we got to ask you about, who's kind of a band leader here for the team, even a year ago, was Tall Cotton. You sold him. Tell us how that came about and why.
The phone was ringing last fall, and you know, you look at the numbers on running a business here, and you say, you know, the future doesn't look too rosy. Maybe it's time to lighten the load and let the horse go, because we really don't know if there's even going to be races for him up here. So it turned out that the phone was ringing through an agent who was buying for the Burke stable, who are good friends of mine, and we got the deal done privately in Florida.
Good stuff. Well, anyway, good luck. Hopefully you got some champions here of those threesome, and you know, we'll see you on the racetrack.
Thanks, Harold.
Harold Howe with Tom Durand, 2-year-olds in training.